The scene is set for Perth by Night. There's a conference call being set up between the Prince, uh, the Toreador Primogen Grace Martin, Rafat Duda is setting it up, and Dexter Johnson, Harpy pro tempore, or however you'll have it. The sheriff is in the background with some of the others. The sheriff is getting equipment ready, looking over things. He's like, what's say? I thank you both for taking this call at this time, especially since it is unexpected. I've not been able to get into contact with any of the Malkavian representatives. By that I mean the Malkavian Primogen. Leon Harris is recovering at the moment from some information. First, the very broad sweeps before we go into any details. After our investigations, it appears that the enforcers have been compromised and are being controlled by some kind of outside force against their will. However, to bring you both up to speed, full details, previously, as I said to the Prince, I had noticed a few things off. I gathered together some of the others. This led to us going into Enforcer's territory. Security is extremely tight. However, some of the things that Alec was the only one we were able to speak to of Clan Malkavian, some of the things he said were off. He's never been a particular fan of Clan Tremere, but he's always been a staunch supporter of the traditions. He was refusing to leave the territory and was going on about how he was suspicious of, after the Count dying, who was responsible for this. And as I said, he's a staunch supporter. Even if he did not approve of a prince or did not like a prince, he would always go to present himself. That was something that seemed very off to me. Also, he gave Leon a card directly with his number, which, as Leon said, being a clanmate of his, that is something Alec would not normally do. That was out of character, and as well, using the site, he was able to feel that it had taken Alec a great deal of effort to give him this, that he was struggling against something that was stopping him from doing this. Now, they are very proficient, have had time to put the area. They have the police working for them, with keeping an eye on the ways in and out that we saw, as well as a lot of technological support in that regards, and some kind allies. However, we further pressed into things when we left. They said if we showed up again, that they would view it as an attack, unless we contacted ahead of time or approved. That's why he gave the number. However, they were a bit off, as I said. Mr. Harris has used the site to check up an area, which is a security company with excessive defenses. And the most troubling of all, Mr. Harris, moments before this phone call, has informed me that while checking the area with the site, he felt resistance. The only thing he could liken to is he've heard other Malkavians and others who are skilled in the site, though I'm sure he doesn't know them directly, some who have tried to spy on the locations of Tremere chantries. We have capabilities to prevent such things. It is my concern that it is one of two eventualities that are controlling the enforcers. One, previously we dealt with a rogue Tremere anarch who said his sire had left the city. He may have been misinformed, his sire, or perhaps another childer, but I would very much doubt another childer of that anarch, due to the level of skill required to use such defenses is significant. Or failing that, we may be looking at a anarch pack or Sabbat pack who have rogue Tremere in them. They would have to be very skilled to be able to both set up these wards and be able to manipulate all of the enforcers. It is grave news. The sheriff, rattle nod to the sheriff, and as he goes about setting up all different weapons, feels that we should move tonight. There are a few other details, however, those are some of the broad strokes. Please, if you have any questions, ask them, and we will provide what answers we can.
Very well. Let us see. We have how many enforcers? 3?
There are 3 enforcers, however, there could be. We don't know how many unknown agents there could be. It could be 1. It might not necessarily be a kindred at all. It could be something else who is influencing them. This is also possible, but that's the evidence we have so far.
They have a bit of control over the kind police, no?
Yes, to a degree, they appear to have used domination. I was able to get past them, but they took details on what cars we brought, and they were forwarding on information.
I understand then that there are police officers who are willing to defend or assist these well, I wouldn't call them rebels, but these compromised cadres. I would like for the force to who's going to insert that area to please advise not to kill any police officers. You can damage them to take them out. You can use tranquilizer guns. You can use tasers, is what they call. But please be advised not to kill any officers. Not that it's if it's unnecessary, if it can't be prevented, then I understand. However, we would not want to have a large attention of extra police in that area. So I advise against killing them if you can.
We could be using presence. It's effective
Yes.
with that kind.
Presence, dominate, I don't care what he uses, as long as make sure that we do not kill them. I understand if he's pointing a gun at you, or if he is part of a group who is supporting another group that is attacking, then you have to take them down. Be advised, incapacitating them as my personal preference. However, of course, our compromised friends, clanmates, they must not meet final death if this can be avoided.
My thoughts
I do not
exactly.
want to have them slain. I do not want their deaths on my hands. I want them brought in for questioning, maybe for some purging of the mind, if you know what I mean. If they got some if somebody tried to dominate them, maybe we can remove some of those mental blockades in order to free them from the yoke of the controlling of the dominate if it's there. Very well. I understand that the sheriff will want to do this. Is there more information about their armaments? You said they were heavily armed. Are they located in one building, or is it an entire neighborhood they are trying to defend?
And if whoever's controlling is taking any advice from Alec, they will have several bolt holes. However, they seem to be holed up in one particular security building, or at least they've put in a lot of defenses there, including excessive amount of video cameras. Getting into the domain territory will be extremely difficult to be undetected. However, if we have superior numbers and the sheriff is able to lead things in a skillful manner, hopefully we will be able to restrain them and bring whoever has usurped them to justice.
Miss Martin,
Yeah.
I know from experience that within yours and within my bloodline, some have the ability to place themselves in a different world.
Yes, that is correct.
I think it would be very advisable to have one of your clan members, if they can, assist the prince, if there is a possibility, to scout ahead, because I do value the life of my sheriff and his hounds, and it might be wise to make sure that if they need to, if they cannot avoid attacking head on, that they at least walk in with sufficient information.
I agree. The only one that I know within my clan that's capable of doing such a thing would be Mr. McGowan. Also, I was wondering, wouldn't it be smarter to see if we could use a distraction to get to them instead of, especially if we want to keep them alive, instead of just entering with brute force?
You mean calling them ahead?
Call them ahead, have one person make a appointment and try to see if we can actually.
There is also one other thing that we can do. The problem is it has to be at the same moment. Um, if somebody has presence, you might try and summon the people they know. If this happens at the same moment that a situation takes place, on one part, you can weaken their defenses because they are then forced to move themselves away from the area unless they get stopped, which means technically they become neutral for a few moments. This could help in having the advantage of numbers against you. But this
Well,
has to be somebody who's in contact with you, who radio or something like that. It's just a way of dealing with the situation, because I understand you want a distraction, but I guess you are thinking about calling ahead and let somebody visit them.
yes, and I would be willing to do that myself, as I would not ask it of anyone else. Also, the summonings, I think I could do. I could perform.
Leon has already begun to scout. That's how we were able to detect the additional defenses of that location. But the help of Mr. McGowan, if he is available, would no doubt be helpful. However, I will be concerned of any member of the court, no matter how heroic it would be for them to put themselves on the line like that. We do not want another member of the court to be potentially overpowered by, well, use of dominate. Let's put it plainly. We all have strong wills, and we will all be able to put up a good fight. But if somebody gets under their thumb using dominate, we may very well end up with us losing one ally and them gaining one. Right now, more than likely, even if there is a pack in there with the enforcers, we probably do have a numerical superiority.
Well, I hope we have a numerical superiority, because if we are walking into this, I say, since they are a group, they will work together and they're well armed, I think we should go in with the double of their numbers, to be exact. At least 6 people. 6 kindred must enter, at least, because I am afraid that if we do not have the numerical superiority, then we will practically have a larger chance of losing people we need.
Well, it's...
There is one trick we can do, though. There are ways to dominate which make sure that the compromising of one or the other could be avoided, or even could be used to our advantage. Say, for instance, keywords could be layers of dominate, which would mean that even if somebody is compromised, which practically means they're either overpowered or dominated to begin with, I could set up such a way that when questions are asked, answers will and words will become out of their mouth in another form of dominate, which means they have more layers, which will take longer. I don't think when Miss Martin or anyone else would be compromising that much. They have the time to go through all the layers I can put there, all the different words, all the different things. It would take a long time they do not need when the sheriff attacks or do not want. However, it could also mean they swiftly choose to end your own life with Marco, which would be very, very unfortunate.
If I may suggest, seeing as Lady Martin is able to use the abilities of presence to such a high degree, obviously you know Pinky. I believe you at least spent one evening, partially in the company of Anton. He was reading a book at the time in the trench. But I'm not sure if you've met Alec, but even if you were able to encourage both of them to come out using that alone, they might be able to restrain one of them, stop them from leaving, but both of them will be more difficult. And even if we can get one of them out, we can restrain them and get information from them. If failing that, even if they have been in a similar manner prepared to prevent them from providing information, it at least means we are weakening the numbers with the potential, if we are lucky, of gaining information on their defenses and potential additional numbers we are yet unaware of.
Exactly. I approve.
We can, I'm sure the sheriff will be quite eager, and I myself will aid in this regard in making sure that if you are summoning them, Lady Martin, that we will be there to ensure your safety.
Mr. Dutra, I must advise that you keep a clear distance. You are now an official member, Prime Minister Mayor. I would not like my Prime Minister to die very soon.
I have no wish to die, and thank you for your words. However, it was I who first raised the alarm on this. I would not wish to bring any shame or questions on the valor of Clan Tremere backing out at this stage. I will aid the sheriff, and I will not leave those who helped the siege of this city be won by the Cameron be
Yes,
left
I
without
think
aid.
all three of them are liberators, no?
All three.
Yes, they are.
Now,
Well, then we
Still.
have to do it.
however, I'm sure we'll be able to bring this resolve. Previously, I did say this was just investigative. We did not engage them in any way in combat, merely in words, but we took note of the situation. Now, as I said at the time, people asked, and I said this was just something they could do. They didn't have to get involved. There was a number of people who aided. And at the time, it was asked whether if there were few people would be punished. I made it clear that this would not be the case, but thankfully everyone who was there was willing to help out. But going forward, this is far more dangerous than we initially imagined. I imagine some people will be asking questions as to potentially the benefit for themselves. As
How
I
I
said.
see it like this at this moment, we are dealing with a very delicate situation, and I understand from both sides that they are careful. However, when you choose a certain stance within your world, within your life, you must face the consequences, as we all do, especially if you're part of Camarilla. At this moment, I see it like this. We have the sheriff who will do his job. That's one. That man shall not have need of any any way of payment other than the fact that he is sheriff. However, other others who might endeavor in this could at least count on, especially when they survive this alive, on a compensation for their efforts, and this will come from the enforcers themselves, because they make us do this.
Very well. I will leave it to yourself, Mr. Johnson, as a acting harpy to spread the word around those here.
Of course.
If there's
If
no,
I may add something, though. I
please,
couldn't help but notice that the enforcers have the local wildlife on their side as well. This is a line of defense that we need to take into account as well.
are we talking rats, dogs, and street cats, or are we talking reindeer and whatnot? Kangaroos? What are we talking
I,
about?
I have noticed a flock of birds, avian creatures, but I wouldn't put it past them to have more than their stats since one of the enforcers is a gangrel.
Then I advise you will. Yes, we will have to do this. If you can find someone who can get a launcher with gas, then because they will use the birds for scouting information. If you can make those birds slower or sleepy, they will not be able to give the right information. They will land and they will stop giving your position away.
Sounds like a good idea. Perhaps we can send in some animals in as well. Maybe
Yes,
a couple of rats, maybe some other birds from out of Guildford.
well, I think we come to the right idea. Of course, we should try and send our own animal friends, so to speak.
if the cause of this, as I worry, is the rogue Tremere whose child or thought had left the city, they shall have to suffer greatly for this insult.
If this indeed is one of our bloodline, then capture him, and I can assure you, punishment will be severe.
I know. Final death would be a kindness to him for what
Final
awaits
death
him.
is just the beginning. There are many ways we can make sure that people don't fuck with the Camarilla.
Of course, my prince.
Very well. It seems we have a large task at hand. Try to gain as much kindred from every single bloodline. Everyone must know, everyone must help. Then no one can say that they missed their chance on their glory. Because at this night, history is going to be written, whether we like it or not. War is not over. It's still on our doorstep. We need to take care of this matter. Especially, we do not want to kill any liberators. They have bled enough.
Okay, as the phone call ends up, we're going to do rolls because Grace Martin will be there, but her flair might not be. So first, let's roll for Pinky. I would say it is fair to say the difficulty 5 for someone is appropriate for Pinky.
Okay. Just need to look
It's
up what I.
Charisma plus Subterfuge.
Okay. Then I still need to fucking look up my character sheet because I didn't expect to actually have to roll anything at this point. Let's see. I don't have that many dice. Let's just say I will put willpower in this. Come on, dice stream. Well, 1 dot of willpower and
Ooh,
Wait,
that's
4
4
successes.
successes. Okay, 4 successes means subject comes with haste, overcoming any obstacle in his way. Now, this isn't happening right at this moment, but this will be happening later in the night when we can do the scenes. So, Pinky is, yeah, Pinky's coming quite quickly. Let's roll, let's say difficulty 7 for Anton.
Mm-hmm. Also put willpower behind that one.
Remember, you're not getting it back per day. You're getting it back per week
I know.
plus nature. Okay, fair enough. Just warning. Well, okay. Obviously, Grace is annoyed. One of her brood has been distracted.
3.
3. 3 means that Anton approaches with reasonable speed. And then lastly, you do have the Liberator title, as does Alec, but I will have to leave it up to the ST for the adventure, but we'll do the roll in case that's okay. It would be difficulty 7 because it would be briefly because you didn't actually have any scenes together.
Exactly.
But in the Siege of the City, it would likely you were in the same, in his presence at one stage.
I'm gonna lock myself up for an entire week, but I'm gonna spend another willpower to this. Ooh. And again, 3 successes.
3 successes. So, both Alec and Anton are going to be approaching reasonable speed. Pinky is coming with haste, overcoming any obstacles. So we'll leave the interpretations for that for later. Hopefully we'll be able to save some of the enforcers. We'll end the scene there.